If you've spent any 5 minutes on social media in the past decade, someone has promised you that intermittent fasting will fix your metabolism, reverse your diabetes, help you live to 150, and possibly cure male pattern baldness. Cochrane just showed up to that party with a fire extinguisher. So this week's PICO question is, in adult patients who are overweight or obese, does intermittent fasting improve weight loss or quality of life compared to regular dietary advice or no intervention at all? This trial was published in 2026 as a Cochrane systematic review and meta-analysis. Remember, this is the gold standard of evidence synthesis. Authors searched several major registries of trials through November of 2024. Here's a quick primer on the main definitions they used for intermittent fasting. Time-restricted feeding. This is where patients were asked to eat within an 8-hour window and then fast the rest of the time each day. Periodic fasting. This is a 5-to-2 ratio where 5 days of normal eating are combined with 2 aggressive restriction days of eating. Alternate day fasting. As you could imagine, this is where people eat regularly today, fast the next day, and repeat indefinitely. And then there's modified alternate day fasting. Same alternating logic, but with a merciful 500-calorie floor on fasting days. Proponents say fasting flips your metabolism. When your body runs out of glucose, it starts burning stored fat, like a furnace switching from wood to coal. Whether that metabolic switch translates to outcomes patients actually care about is what Cochrane came to find out today. Randomized controlled trials with at least 4 weeks of intervention and 6 months of follow-up were included, and crossover designs were excluded. Remember, crossover designs are where patients get to experience multiple arms of a trial. The comparators here were regular dietary advice or no intervention at all. And the primary outcomes were weight loss, quality of life, adverse events, and these were all assessed on the risk of bias assessment. All right, time to get into the results. 22 studies were included in the analysis and almost 2,000 total participants with ages ranged between 18 and 80 were seen in outpatient settings across North America, Australia, China, Denmark, Germany, Norway, and Brazil. Sounds like the 2026 World Cup teams.
Soccer? Yes, you play soccer too?
7 of 22 studies enrolled predominantly women and 1 focused on men. The rest were mixed. The median study size was fewer than 100 participants. The main result that I think matters is comparing intermittent fasting to regular dietary advice. This analysis had 21 studies and about 1,700 patients included. When comparing IF against regular dietary advice, the mean weight loss difference was a negative 0.33% from baseline, with a confidence interval between negative 0.92 to positive 0.26%. That confidence interval doesn't just cross zero, it camps there and roasts marshmallows. Though not significant, one trial showed a weight loss potential of 4%, but another showed a weight gain potential of 4%. Similar non-significant results show no difference in quality of life or changes in weight loss categories. The only potential nod to intermittent fasting is comparing it to patients who did nothing at all. That means there was no dietary advice, or they were told to wait for an intervention to come their way. In that small group of about 500 patients, IF produced a mean weight loss benefit of 3.42%, with a confidence interval of negative 4.95 to negative 1.9, so all on the correct side of zero. However, we need to note that the clinical significance of weight loss threshold is 5%. That's the cutoff where evidence shows meaningful improvements in blood pressure, A1C, and metabolic risk. Intermittent fasting beat doing nothing at all. It couldn't clear the bar. And not one study in this entire review reported patient satisfaction, diabetes outcomes, or comorbidity burden. Not one.
Not a finger!
This week's Castelli Coefficient lands at a 6 out of 10. Cochrane did everything right. Pre-registered protocols, rigorous searches, dual extraction, risk of bias assessment. The problem is that the evidence they were handed was mostly for high risk of bias, underpowered, and capped at less than 12 months on a question about a lifelong behavior change. Real patient-oriented outcomes were evaluated, which included weight loss and quality of life, which keeps this number above 5. But no mortality, no cardiovascular outcomes, and no diabetes data were its demise. What would push this higher? Maybe harder endpoints with proper power and a long-term follow-up with enough patients to answer the question that we're actually asking. So there it is. Your clinical takeaway for today is intermittent fasting does not outperform dietary counseling and barely beats doing nothing at all without reaching clinical significance. That doesn't mean you shame every patient who wants to skip breakfast. It means stop pretending that the fasting app is a prescription. Until the next time, this is Dispense is Written.